hope you're ready because I sure am. I've been talking about it all week. You guys know how excited I am. Once again, we are going to have the extraordinary Miss Kayley Hill going to be sitting with us for an entire hour. We're going to get to hear her sing. But in case you're not familiar with her, let me just let you know, she was on NBC's The Voice last fall, and we stumbled across her a couple months before she actually went on the show, and we fell in love with her, so we had to have her on. And we've been following her ever since then. I like to say we're best friends. She doesn't know that, but I tell everyone else, so it's cool. And oh my gosh.
Say, by the way.
Yes. I'm a wonderful stalker. I send gifts. I don't hurt people.
True.
Anyway, she's been so busy since the last time she was here. She is putting out an album that hopefully will come out in the summer. I know she's been working hard on that. She is actually writing for the first time, and she's using Few Publishing. So she's going to be a co-author in our next book, which I'm excited about because we get to do that project together. Woo! She's an ambassador for Callings Guitars. I hope I said that right. I probably didn't. And she has so many other projects, but most importantly, y'all, she's going to sing for us today. I am so excited about that. We're going to get to hear her. So please help me welcome the beautiful, the wonderful, the extraordinary Miss Kayley Hill.
Yay! Kayley, we're so happy to have you.
I'm very happy.
It's a pleasure to be here.
It's so awesome to have you back. We can't wait to hear about all that's been going on with you since your appearance on The Voice and so many things. We're all following you on social media, and it just seems like you never sleep. Like, that's my first question. Do you sleep?
I do sleep, and it's one of those things where, like, I have to be more intentional, and, like, sometimes when I get home late from networking, I just want to zone out and just, like, decompress. But lately, I've really been trying to be intentional about going to bed at a decent hour because sleep is very important to my productivity and to my vocal health. So
yeah. How does that affect your vocal cords? I mean, does it truly affect your singing? Do they get stressed more easily, or what happens?
Yeah, for sure. I would say, like, it's no different than being in the gym. So if you're working out in the gym, you need to rest your muscles afterwards so that you can continue to perform. That's probably the best analogy, because at the end of the day, like, it is a muscle. So for me, like, I learned the acronym WAR, WAR. It's water, air, and rest, and those are the things that really promote vocal health.
Wow, cool.
Not coffee, not caffeine, but it's my crazy addiction. I will never get rid of it.
Yeah, everybody has their addiction, and that's not a bad one to have, right?
I love it. I love it.
Well, we can't wait to hear about all the things Heather just mentioned in your intro. First of all, congratulations on becoming a published author. You're currently writing your story. Tell us about that.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Never heard that before.
New and different from our authors.
Yeah. So I finally submitted my first draft, and I've just been so boggled down with a lot of things right now. I won't get crazy into detail about that, but I've been excited about it in the sense of just being able to share my story. And so I didn't really know what the rules were, but I just wanted to be honest and share my testimony and how my faith and music has collided and what that looks like to me day to day and how I've grown through it. Wow. So that's kind of the theme of it. And Kim, you helped me kind of think about a direction, and I'm still kind of sticking with the chapter title being From Faint-Hearted to Fearless, because really it's that fearlessness that I've been able to capture just in my day-to-day. So I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm ready to finish. It needs help, I know, and I'm just pumped to be able to work with somebody that can coach me and help bring out the best versions of the story. And so.
Oh, and the best writing, I believe, is I don't care for perfection. I like the raw, real story. And like you said, you just want to be honest. That's what I believe attracts, a reader. Because when I'm reading, I don't really care if your period's in the right spot or if you capitalize this and that, which I'm glad there's editors, because I know that is important, especially to some people. And I'm pointing to Kim, if you can't tell.
I'm over here on my screen.
But I love when the realness, that's what I love about Few Publishing, because they take real women with real stories. And when you read them, I mean, you can laugh with them and you can cry with them, but you can feel what they're walking through. So hold on to that. Don't try to get rid of it. You want that. It's going to be so good. And I'm excited. I can't wait to read your story.
I also saw it from a perspective of like, this is probably going to be read by people who want to get to know who I am.
Very true.
And so it's really important that my voice comes through and people are able to get a sense of my personality and my convictions. And so that's kind of, I've been trying to stay true to just how I speak day to day and like how I interact day to day, like what that language looks like. And is it sassy? A little bit.
Yeah.
I'm hoping there's a little humor in there. But I also want like my heart to come through too. And so we'll see.
I think it's so.
Oh, go ahead. Thrilled when you said yes to telling your story in this book, because the topic of the book is a women's identity. And so it's really, how has God helped you understand and then walk in your true identity? And for you, music has been such a massive part of that, because it kind of forced you to stand in who God says you are, and to be confident and bold. And even just the last time we had you on the show, when you talked about stewarding your gift, that was really owning your identity in Christ, because you're like, I believe and I understand that God gave me this gift and I want to use it to the best of my ability for Him. And so everything about your journey was so linked to your identity and who God says you are and how you see yourself through His eyes, not just your own.
Right.
And that took you all the way to NBC's The Voice, and now you're touring and you're partnering with all kinds of other artists and other music related businesses, and you're an ambassador for all these great companies, and so many doors have opened because you chose to walk in your true identity in Christ. You didn't shrink back.
No.
Yes. And there's one other thing that's kind of exciting on that same note, Kim. I know, like, when you were on The Voice, we all got to hear you a little bit and we got to see you a little bit, but I feel like it didn't really show the real, like, the personality we got to see when we sat in that, in the audience watching you perform. I don't feel like they did a good job showing that. So I think this is going to be a way for them to really get to know, you more deeply, like the fun side and a little bit of a sassy. It's good all around,
No,
Yes.
I agree. And I knew that too. And I really tried hard to not really give them any negative thing that they could take and run with, because at the end of the day, it's a show and they're building these expositions and like these storylines. And so I was like, I just want pure joy to be shown at all times from me.
Yeah.
And that's, it's kind of hard to do. And at the end of the day though, like The Voice it's a great program, and I would stand behind them beyond any other, just in how they do take care of the artists, and they're not interested in slandering anybody or putting anybody down for profit. Like it's really about the voice and showing people in good lights. So I was thankful for that. But
well, that's a great segue. We're so curious, how did doing the show change your life? And I don't just mean like opportunities like out here. How did it change you in here? I mean, that had to transform you in a lot of ways. You had to face a lot of fear, and then when you didn't ultimately progress through to the end of the show, you had to deal with that. I mean, tell us how that went for you.
I mean, it definitely goes back to my heart just being prepared I felt like there was so much that God had given me just leading up to The Voice. I felt stronger than I'd ever been in my guitar playing and my vocals. My songwriting, I felt like, was being elevated as well. Everything about my artistry, I felt prepared to go and just give my best performance. And apart from that, I also knew, like, well, I feel at my strongest. So therefore, if I'm for whatever reason not like picked by them or whatever, I'm not taking it as a discount to my ability. I'm taking it into account of like, okay, God, you're actually leading me in a different direction. And it just so happened he was leading me to them. And I felt his favor in the whole process. You know, I felt like he was there. It was strange. Even every coaching that I had, every meeting that I had, every voice lesson that I had, I just felt God's provision. I was like, oh, this is something is being very like uplifted here. And I was also able to be myself, which I really enjoyed that aspect too. I didn't shy away from anything. My confidence in my personality and who I was, like, I was unashamed in approaching conversation. I was just myself. And that just comes with time, you know, like I was able to cultivate relationships because I wasn't afraid. Like I had confidence. And so I was able to build relationships and celebrate the other artists that were there, which was really important to me.
That's awesome.
And you don't really, I knew going into it, that's what I wanted to do. And then the lesson afterwards was just confirmation. Okay, you did the right thing. And like, this is really the posture you need to take in the future too, in any artistic collaboration. So it's always good to get that confirmation as well. I'm sorry, I'm like going on a tangent. I'm reel me back.
No, that's great.
Really
so good.
I think it's wonderful, but you also mentioned the collaborations and the people that you develop relationships with. And unless I'm wrong, haven't you actually gone and done other projects with people that you were on The Voice with?
Yeah.
So,
I just got back from Texas. My buddy Dave Fenley. I've been doing a lot of shows with him, and he's got such a pull in the Texas market. And he told me, he's like, Kayley, like, I want Texas to get to know who you are. They need you. And like, what an advocate. And he's so talented and just so savvy.
Yes.
He's gotten to do some really, really cool things in his career. He got to tour with Miranda Lambert for a couple years. And so for him to believe in me is just such a compliment. And to do one step further and invite me to play with him, like it's such a privilege. So and I'll be able to do a few more shows. I'm about to go back out for Memorial Day weekend and do a run of shows with him again, and just throughout the summer. I'm really excited about that. And you know, Texas has been so welcoming and loving, and I really, really enjoyed making fans in that state and meeting people. And they're so loyal and so supportive. I could not say more good things about Texas.
Wow, I think that's amazing. That's so good.
Well, and just a couple weeks ago, but my battle partner, Cameron Marlowe, he called me up a couple weeks ago and said, hey, will you sing backup vocals on this song I'm recording? I'm like, honey, yes, I will. Honey, I'll be there. Send me that tune. Let me learn it. And so I went, and his producer is Brad Hill, who works with the Brothers Osborne and Maren Morris and just all these icons in the country realm. So that was really cool to be in the studio with them and just to contribute that in that way.
And you were just on a radio show too, right?
Yeah. So
that was so cool.
You know, it's like I keep going into every situation that I'm performing in with, okay, I want to put out the best work I can in this moment, because you never know what's going to happen. And I was, I was playing at a writer's round in town called Revival, and there was a guy sitting next to me that was also in the round, and I was just so smitten with this talent. I was like, wow, dude, like, you're incredible. And I made a point to connect with him afterwards and said, hey, I'd love to write a song sometime. And that just kind of continued to snowball into something different. And he's like, well, I actually live in Cookville, and I do sales for advertising for this radio station. Like, you should come out and do an interview. And I was like, I would love to. I didn't know. I honestly thought it was like a mom and pop radio thing, like in somebody's backyard. Like they just
Oh,
do it
wow.
every Tuesday morning. I did not know it was like, it's the biggest country radio station between Knoxville and Nashville.
Huge.
And they say that-
It was, and he loved her. He loved her.
Yeah,
He
you
was
can
trying
watch
to
it on
get
my
you to
Facebook.
tour.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And he's in the DJ Hall of Fame. Like I'm like, what the
Wow.
fart? Like, how did I end up here? But he's been amazing and such an advocate for me as well, and like willing to put his name out there and my, to try and help me. And I'm just
wow, that's so God, isn't it? Look at how God has opened all
is.
these doors of favor, and you're not out there looking for those opportunities. You're just authentically connecting with people that you respect in the industry. And look at what's coming of it. It's just, it's so inspiring for anybody who's an entrepreneur. I don't care if you can't sing. If you're putting yourself out there, you need to hear Kayley's story, because she's a connector and she's authentic, and she just keeps pursuing her dream. Nothing's going to stop you. Nope. I love it. So good.
Nope. Well, if she won't brag, I will. I watched the radio show, and what really struck me was, first of all, just once again, your charm. You're just so you own who you are. You're so clear that, you run by the Holy Spirit. She made it very clear. Well, I don't drink, so I don't like to sing songs about drinking, because that's not who I am. And she goes, I don't really even curse. And I love that. I think that's so awesome, especially when I have a 9-year-old, and I love the fact that I can turn your music on and I don't have to worry about I literally stopped listening to secular music altogether in front of her, because it was becoming so graphic, and I just didn't know what was going to be the next word. So to be able to use artists like you and let her hear this beautiful voice, beautiful music, and feel good knowing like this is someone that I can talk about, and I can share your story with her, and I can tell her, this is a woman who loves God. This is a woman who's chasing after God's own heart, and when she's done, he's going to look at her and say, well done. And I love that about you. So I'm telling you, that's where your success is coming from, because you are who you are. You don't make it. I'm not going to sacrifice this when it can affect this. And I love that about you. And I think he did too, by the way.
Well, it's it has turned, and we didn't really talk about this on the radio show, but so my default is to use toilet words instead of curse words. And so I say,
like
what the fart? And it's wildly ridiculous and I don't know, very like childhood and kindergarten. But it was funny because when I was in Texas last week, I kept saying it on the mic, and I was like, y'all, and I pretty much opened the show up like that. I was like, look, I don't say the F word, I say fart. So I will say what the fart a few times. And it just became like a huge thing. Like everybody in the audience, they were saying like, fart you. Like, just like being so silly. And I was like, you can't use it that way. It just doesn't make sense. It's weird.
That is funny.
It isn't. I love it. I'm totally
It's so stupid. But it's just what I do. And like most people are very confused when I say it because I say it with such conviction. And I say it so much that it's like second nature to me, but it always catches people by like off guard. They're like, did you just say fart? Yes,
we need a shirt.
You have a problem.
We need a shirt. It's Kayley.
We need a shirt.
Yes.
Oh yeah, what the fart? Oh my gosh.
I'm writing it down.
Well, I'm working on that's the thing. I'm realizing my little phrases are pretty brand centric to who I am as an artist.
Yes.
And so when I'm playing out in town, I say honey yes a lot, especially when I like something. I'm like honey yes, with like extra S's. And so I'm working on like a logo right now for hats and t-shirts, just to say
I love it.
And it ended up like my friend was like, you can't sell that without having the song. And so then we wrote the song, and it's on that radio show. It was the last song I played.
I heard that. It was awesome. Yes, I love it.
Yes. So I'm really excited about that song. Someday it will have life and I'll be able to sell that merch.
I can see it across a hat. Honey, yes!
Honey, yes!
I love that. That's so good.
Oh, awesome. Oh my gosh, Kayley, you're such a doll. Well, the thing that people don't realize is that you really are that person. That's not, just like an act. I mean, you are real. You are who you are on the phone when I'm just talking to you alone. You're the same person Heather and I met in that bar in Nashville. And you're the same person who gets up in front of the crowds and says, what the fart, that's just who you are. And that's just so beautiful. So this summer, tell us a little bit about who else gets to hear you say, what the fart. Where are you all going this summer?
Okay, so I will be going back to Texas a few times. I've got a couple dates in San Francisco in June and early August. I'll be going to the Seattle, Tacoma, Olympia area in September.
Wow. Awesome.
I'll be going to Omaha in September as well. I'm playing a festival at the middle July in Delaware, and I'm trying to build a little New England tour based off of that. Where else am I going? I'm doing a house concert in North Carolina next week. I've got a lot. It's a lot, and I need to actually sit down and hammer out some more of that booking. It's a full-time job, just trying to I'll get a date and somebody will fly me out for that, but I want to and then North Dakota, there's a program in North Dakota that caters to underprivileged children, and a friend of mine is in equine therapy, and he
cool. Yeah.
a friend of mine, and so he's like, can you please come out? We would love to have you sing for the kids, and that's just a big passion of mine. So I'm actually roping my husband into that as well, because he does really great mentorship with youth as well, especially with the sports side of things. So we're kind of going to double team that weekend.
That's great.
Dakota. And neither of us have been there, so there's a lot going on.
And then we also have a special announcement, right, Kim?
Yes. I was just going to say, we have to get you up here at Summerfest. Have you heard of Summerfest in Milwaukee?
I have multiple times, and someday it'll happen. It's one of those things. That's where I really need somebody that's a booking agent to come in and join my team, because I just don't have those connections yet. It'll happen.
Well, we also have State Fair. Tons of artists come to Wisconsin State Fair. Summerfest is end of June. Wisconsin State Fair is beginning of August. And both of them attract just thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And they're huge. And I have to think about who I know and drop a line. Probably it would have to be for next year. I know they book out way in advance. But that would be awesome to have you in one of Milwaukee's music festivals.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I need to be your booking agent.
Back to our special announcement. Kayley, why don't you tell our audience where you're going to be this September, at least middle of September?
Yeah. I'll be in Michigan.
What you going to do there?
Just going to sing some worship music for this incredible organization that's putting on this women's conference. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's by Few, Fellowship of Extraordinary Women.
What? I'm so excited to have you. Oh my goodness. Yes. And ladies, Kayley is going to be our worship leader, and she's doing a poolside concert that weekend. We're going to be having our annual retreat at Jane and Doug Guffey's residence there in Holland. It's just beautiful, beautiful part of Michigan. And there's a beautiful in-ground pool in the backyard where Kayley will be performing. So you guys got to think about registering for this event. It's extremely exclusive. I think we can only accommodate 10 women total.
Yeah.
So it's exclusive. It's intimate. We dig into the Word of God. We worship. There's prophetic prayer, and now for the first time, a concert. So it's going to be amazing. It's going to be
every year. It's
so
different.
Delighted to have you.
I'm
And
pumped.
it's all about rest and with just restoring. And every year, everyone walks away with a lot, but usually there's always one big thing that happens. And like last year, we actually got to baptize someone in the pool, or Kim did.
Oh,
And it was
wow.
a 17-year-old girl. And it was just goosebump. What did that person call them? God bumps? I love that. God bumps for days. Yeah. But it's so intimate, and you have time to really you can go for a walk along the Michigan lake, or you can, I think we were doing a boat. Yeah, and you can go for a run, and there's little different places to sit and just, it's so beautiful. And you are going to love it. You'll have your own space, so you can get away and just warm up your vocal cords, or you can hang with your BFF because I'll be there, Well,
can I just remind you, Heather, that you're coming to help me? Because I know she's going to be useless for me that whole weekend.
It's true.
I already know. I'll just bring somebody else. You can have her, Kayley.
You can hang with me and Kim. We usually stay up till 3 a.m. laughing anyway. So
I love that.
Well, and Kayley, the home is beautiful, and we have dinner at the yacht club, and it's just a very relaxing, spoiling kind of a weekend that women really, really need and deserve. But what I'm most excited about, besides worshiping with your voice, because you can sing flipping secular music and make me cry. I don't know what it's going to happen to me when you sing worship. I'm going to be a hot mess, you guys. But
what, do we get to make requests before?
Oh, please,
girl,
send me whatever songs you want.
Okay, awesome.
I'm going to go out of my way to make Kim cry.
You what?
I'm going to go out of my way to make Kim cry. I know what makes Kim
cry. She loves it.
I have a couple that were like my songs through the voice. But I'm very open to that because.
Oh, you got to do those. I want to know that. I want to know what songs got you through.
Yeah. Yes. And so in addition to worshiping together with you, Kayley, I also am the most excited about the topic of this retreat. It's going to be all about practicing the presence of God. And learning how to be with him everywhere you go, and what does that mean, and how do you do it, and how can that be our reality, that everywhere we go we sense his presence, and that we're walking in it, living in it, enjoying it, because so many of us, we just jump right out of his presence as soon as we feel like we made a mistake. We run away from God. And so how do we stay in a place where we're not running away from him when we feel like we screwed up? That's probably the biggest deterrent. But lots of practical tips and teaching and scripture about God's presence. Why does it matter? Why do we want it? And this is not a bragging point by any means, but I'm sharing this about this retreat because I really feel like God is drawing specific women to come. One time when I was being prayed for by a team of prophetic prayer warriors in Kansas City at the International House of Prayer, they said that God was going to allow me to dispense his presence. That was part of my ministry. And so there's like a true impartation of his presence that he's giving me to give women. And I'm just the vessel. That doesn't make me special or anything. It just is a way that God wants to use me in women's lives. And so I want women to understand that there will be an impartation of God's presence at this event. And if you need to feel God's presence in your life, you need to come to this event. It's just going to be life-changing, absolutely life-changing. And I personally believe that there will be the greatest impartation. This will be our 3rd annual, and it's going to be the most powerful that we've ever done. So, and that's not a plug. That is a prophecy right there. Yeah. So it's going to be awesome, and we can't wait for you to come. It's going to be great.
I'm ready.
Yeah, I believe you. I believe you're ready. So tell us about some of these awesome partnerships that you have struck with some of these companies where you're kind of an ambassador or an artist for them, or, you know, different roles you're playing to promote their product. And somehow, like some way, they chose you. How cool is that? Tell us how that came to be.
Well, I've been kind of living from the whole ask and you shall receive scenario for a while now.
Oh, I love
It's
that.
so true. And I'm not afraid of being told no. And I think that's part of it. You can't be afraid to be told no, because you're going to be told no.
Yep.
That's right.
But I was on The Voice, or like right before The Voice premiered, I said, you know, and I now have that little bit of clout. People are going to listen to me when I say, oh, I was on The Voice, especially from a brand's perspective. And that's just being very sober-minded about it. And I said, how can I use this to my advantage and really strike relationships up with companies that I believed in?
Yeah.
And one was Collings. They were actually the first people I called. I first heard a Collings guitar maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. I was in a music store, and Collings is not sold in that specific store. It was a gentleman that brought in a custom-made Collings guitar. He'd just gotten it in, and I had the gumption to ask if I could play it. And he let me play that guitar, and it was the most beautiful sounding guitar I'd ever heard in my life. And
Wow.
I was like, I want to play this guitar at some point. He's like, well, it's a $5,000 guitar. So, and I was like, oh, shoot. Okay, well, that's that. Let's
Fargo.
But ever since then, I was like, I want to play that guitar. I want to be part of that family. And so I called them, and they were just eager to send me one. They said, I told them, I was like, hi, I'm about to premiere on The Voice. I want to be an ambassador for you. I don't see anybody in Nashville playing your brand. I want to scream this guitar out from the rooftops and proclaim your brand to everybody so that we can change this guitar culture in Nashville. And they said, yeah, what's your address? Let's send you a guitar to play.
Wow.
And I know. And so I've just been, and it's crazy because I named the guitar Sheila. and it just like hit me. I was like, oh, I want to name it Sheila. And I looked up Sheila, and I think it's like Latin-based word is like means of the heavens or heavenly.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, come on. Yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it right. And I told him, I was like, I'm so pumped to like write songs on this guitar. And I was just in Texas, and they're actually based in Austin. And I got to go to the shop and got the grand tour of how they build their guitar.
Wow.
And there's just so much integrity. I feel like I left having that much more respect for the brand and for their process, because everything is very particular. It takes a long time just to even construct the guitar because of the time it takes to like for each step. And
Wow.
and I'm wearing their t-shirt right now.
There we go.
Collings.
Oh, good. I said it right.
Guitars. I just, and you know, working with them too, like they're just as happy to have me a part of their team.
Yes.
And a part of their family, as they say. And there's just smitten. They're smitten. I'm smitten. I could not be more happy to be on their team. So that's the first one. That was a long thing. Anyway, moving on. Okay.
That's okay.
So,
no, that's awesome.
Yes. So I also pursued a sponsorship with Suntan City because I was like, you know, this is something, I get spray tans all the time. It's part of my look. You know, I get on stage, like having a little bit less pale in my look is something I like. And so, but I want to do it the right way. And so I became an ambassador for them as well. And I get to share their product and get to share their promotions and stuff like that. And we've swapped and bartered services in a sense.
Well, if I can interrupt you, Kayley, you have something in common with my daughter. She's also a Suntan City rep, but she just works there.
Oh.
My daughter Macy works part-time at Suntan City in Madison. Yeah, it's a chain, right?
Yeah, it's a chain.
Yeah, that's where she works.
They were, well, and the timing of it too, because when I reached out to them, and again, like I'm reaching out to these people. I'm going to the brands that I use, that I support, that I believe in, and pursuing them as like can I bring you value? Can we swap something here?
So
because I'm a musician. Like my resources are limited, but I can promote.
Yeah.
And I'm on stage. And so I reached out to them and they said, well, it's amazing that you're reaching out to us now because we've been thinking about bringing on these influencers. And since you're in the music industry, it's a great asset to have. And so I said, great, let's do it. Then I recently just partnered with Warm Audio, and I can't wait to share more about that because I reached out to them and I said, hey, I would love to be with your company. They do like audio gear, like microphones. And they're kind of smaller, but they're out of Austin, Texas as well. Conveniently.
Wow.
I know. And they said, I told them, I was like, hey, like I would love to work with you guys. I think you shared a video of mine not too long ago. And they said, oh, your kid. Yeah, we know exactly who you are. And we've been looking for a voice like yours.
Wow.
I was like,
wow.
What? What? They're like, we're so glad that you called us. This is what we'd like to do with you. They set me up with a studio in San Antonio. And they said, we're going to sponsor a recording session for you. We're going to bring in a videographer. We're going to get you promotional footage that we can use, that you can use. And I thought about the song I wanted to do. And this is actually a good segue because I wrote this song for a Canadian who was a stay-at-home mom. At 40 years old, she decided she wanted to become a police officer and contribute to her community. She ended up passing away on the job. She got shot in a sleepy town where there's never any gunmen. I met her husband in Nashville who saw me playing downtown. And after 3 hours, he comes up to me and he says, I want you to play music for my wife's memorial benefit. I want you to come to Canada.
Wow.
And so I heard the story about his wife and I said, well, I'm going to write you guys a song. And I did. And I wrote this song called Story of a Hero. And since I'd already recorded my EP, my next project that's hopefully going to come out in the summer sometime, I said, well, how can I give Story of a Hero a life? And I chose that song to record in the studio and I recorded it last week.
Wow.
I know. And it just so happens National Police Week is like the week of May 15th. And so I'm going to release it then and just.
Oh, wow. Oh my goodness.
No, there's a lot going on.
Listeners, blast your social media with this song when Kayley releases it. It is time to honor and uphold these heroes. And I just love that you said, oh, I'll do you one better. I will write you a song. That is amazing. That is really stewarding your gift right there.
It was one of those things, like when I sat down to write it, I felt God just like leading a lot of the lyrics. Like I remember penning one line in the song. It's those who had none, you found their shadow and gave them the sun. And I was like, oh, I got chills.
Yeah, you look up, you go, that's a good one, God. That's a good one.
I was like, whew. I can't right now. And like there were moments finding the melodies that I was like, oh Lord, you just gave that to me. I know you did. And then, the song came about and I played it for them and they're like, this is more than just for our family and for our town. Like there are people that need to hear this song. And I said, okay, I'm going to work on it. Let's get it. Let's give it some life.
Well, are we going to get to hear that song?
Yes. I should be getting the mastered copy, which means it's ready to be distributed.
Awesome.
I should be getting that today and I can share that with you guys. And I'm going to donate whatever the downloads are. I'm going to donate it to Sarah Burns's, like the charities that she was.
Wow. Kayley,
you hear that, guys?
I feel like I need to connect you with a young widow whose husband is also a fallen police officer. He was a detective and they had 2 young children. And this was about a year ago in Colorado.
Oh.
And she is just really a voice for these things. I would love to connect you with her and connect your song with her as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's for those people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, we have to. That she would love that, and it's called Sycamore.
No, I'm talking about Rachel Firestone.
Oh, I'm
Amy
totally not even talking about what you.
was a firefighter. This is another young widow who, a lot of young widows that I've been encountering in the last couple of years, and a lot of them are widowed because their husbands are first responders or their wives in the case of, the song you wrote. So I mean, this is a lot of people's reality, and there really is a need for your song and for a place to honor people's sacrifice. There really is.
Wow.
So, speaking of you singing,
Yeah.
you're gonna sing for us today.
Yeah.
Don't pretend you're nervous.
Oh gosh. Okay. As I'm leaning down to get my
hair. That is so pretty.
What is?
Her blanket. I like your blanket.
My aunt knit that for me.
Oh,
it was my wedding. It was one of my wedding gifts.
Oh, so
wow. Wow, it's beautiful.
All right, what do you got for us, girl?
Part of me feels like I need to do Story of a Hero. But as I was telling you guys before we went live, like I didn't really warm up my voice today. So I'm not sure what's gonna come out. Let's lower this.
Nothing but good. That's what's gonna come out.
Oh gosh, or well, we'll see.
Well, you do what you feel comfortable with, but I promise you we're not gonna judge you too harsh.
Okay,
No, we're not gonna judge you at all.
Let me just get some handy dandy water here.
You need to gargle or anything like that?
Rest.
Right.
It's okay. It's okay. We're gonna get through it. So this is called Story of a Hero, and I wrote this for Sarah Burns in the town of Fredericton, New Brunswick.
Wow.
Tied up her boots, pulled back her hair, picked up her belt, the badge that she'd wear. She had hope every single day. Never too old to try something new. Stay-at-home mom now, dressed up in blue. She didn't want the glory or the fame, just to help the lost, broken and ashamed. You can see how her memory lives on, 'cause we're here now to pass her baton. A legacy of love is carried on, the story of a hero. She had a way of drawing you in, good in her eyes, the smile of a friend, always saw beauty below the skin. You can see how her memory lives on, 'cause we're here now to pass her baton. The legacy of love is carried on, the story of a hero. If you had none, she found your shadow, gave you the sun. Never knew her life would become the story of a hero. You can see how her memory lives on, 'cause we're here now to pass her baton. A legacy of love is carried on, the story of a hero.
Wow.
I'm speechless.
Wow.
Are you crying? Don't cry.
It's so
It's
beautiful.
just beautiful.
I think it's because you put your soul into your music. You just don't play music. You pour out your soul with voice and instrument, and it's just incredible. And wow, did you write a beautiful song? Those lyrics are amazing. Just amazing lyric. Wow. Incredible. That there must have been a dry eye in the place. Did you do the memorial service?
Yeah, well, it was the benefit. So her husband is actually a philanthropist in town, and he just loves to raise money. And so the benefit was in her honor, raising money for the things that she was passionate about, which included domestic abuse, continued education, and then, oh goodness, I'm butchering this. What's the third one? Oh, and mental health and wellness. And so we were able to raise, like, I think almost $200,000 that night for those things that she cared about, and like the whole town knew about the event. But the night before the event, I played a house concert for her family, and I played that song there, and I could not look at anybody. I just had to like look at the ceiling and sing the song because I knew I would just cry. I would just cry because it's just it's sad.
Wow, what a gift you have. And your voice, I don't know what your voice could even possibly sound like warmed up if that's raw. Let me just tell you.
Well, I had like, we've been talking for like 30 minutes, and that helps too. So.
Oh, what a beautiful song. What a gift you're giving to that family. I mean, I just can't even talk. I don't know. I just can't even, as you say. Just can't even. So good.
Well, Kayley, before we say goodbye for today, can you do one more song for us? Any song you choose.
Oh goodness, I was not ready for this.
Preferably one that won't make me cry.
Okay, I don't know if I could do this one either, but we're gonna try it. So this is my Honey Yes song.
Yay! I was hoping you'd do that one.
Really? Okay. Okay. Here we go. So I wrote this with Kirsten Hedden and Carlene Watt. And we wrote it because of the hat. I just wanted a hat that said Honey Yes. And they said, no, you need a song. I said, fine. So we wrote this song. Coffee first thing in the morning. Without warning, give me sugar on my cheek. I love how you sing in the shower. The notes are sour, but you're singing on to me. Honey, yes, everything you do, everything you do, honey, yes. Honey, yes, everything you do, everything you do, honey, yes. Ain't got anything in common, babe, I'm all in, you're perfect for me. So if you ever start to wonder, there ain't no other, you're the only fish in my sea. Honey, yes, everything you do, everything you do, honey, yes. Honey, yes, everything you do, everything you do, honey, yes. Little guitar solo, something like that. Your laugh that, your eyes that took me by surprise. The baby, I just wanna pull you closer, honey, yes. That crooked grin when you walk in my heart, your hands. Let's do this dance, over and over, honey, yes. Honey, yes. Everything you do, everything you do, honey, yes. Honey, yes. Everything you do, everything you do, honey, yes. Ooh. Honey, yes. Everything you do, everything you do, honey, yes.
Woo!
Hey,
And you guys will be singing that song all day because I did when I heard her do it on the radio. I was like, where is
that's the point. That's the point. It's good.
You're right, and it works because I was do 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 do. And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm singing. I love it. I love it. And your voice, that little flutter you do at the end.
And
I'm so glad we're friends.
It's the perfect theme for the phrase honey, yes. It's like you're just how you wrote it about just like being in love with someone and how everything they do is perfect. That's just awesome. Oh my gosh, you guys are so good at what you do. So you wrote that with two friends?
Yeah, we wrote it kind of about Matt, because Matt, my husband, and I joke all the time that we have nothing in common. We don't. It took us like a few years of being married for us to like be unashamed about what we like and don't like, because you're still trying to mind your P's and Q's, and we realized we do not like anything that each other likes.
I totally get that.
We still work. We're still the opposite.
That is so cute. And I love the part where you say you're the only fish in my sea. That is so sweet. I love it. It's so perfect.
Oh, Kayley, congratulations on all of your success, on every open door. And I know it's just the beginning, just the beginning. You are going places, girl.
Oh, so yes. And you're going to be friends with us while you do it. You lucky girl. Honey, yes! I'm so making a shirt. You're going to get a shirt in the mail, and it's going to say, honey, yes.
Honey, yes.
My daughter knows how to do it, so be watching.
Yes.
I told you she's a stalker, but she sends gifts. She stalks with gifts, so that's not so bad.
I see it. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Kayley,
I'm very picky about who I stalk.
We'll let you go get about your day, but thank you so much for being with us today. You are such a delight. We look forward to September. We look forward to your album being released. We look forward to the release of your song. What's the title of your song?
Story of a Hero.
Story of a Hero. Yep, got that right here. Sorry. Old brain. But we are just so thrilled about everything that's happening with you. Let us know how we can support you, how we can share, how we can spread the word, and just God bless you more, even more than he already has.
Yeah. And keep listening.
I will burst if that happens. I will burst.
Get ready to burst because it's coming, girl. It's coming.
And she's also going to be releasing her very first written word, guys. So keep a lookout on that.
Yes.
I have my first coaching today. I'm pumped.
Oh, you'll love it.
Awesome. Amy is watching right now. In fact, Amy Oaks, your coach. So she's
hi, Amy.
She said hello on Facebook. So I'm sure she's looking forward to it as well. Well, we'll let you go, my dear. Thank you so much for being with us.
Yes.
You are such a great example of being extraordinary and telling your story.
Yes.
You are.
Y'all are great. Thank you for inviting me.
You own it. We love you so much. We look forward to everything you're going to do next. And I'm going to put your website and everything on this link so you guys can check her out and be ready to buy her newest album when it comes out, hopefully this summer. And don't forget to be extraordinary and
tell your story.
We love you. Bye.
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 I need a picture like this. Oh.